My twin brother Eurostrade's frantic texts lit up my phone screen, each one a digital scream of panic. Bro, what in the world did you do to our CEO? The man is practically a glacier, and he just smiled at me. Smiled. It gets worse. He cornered me in the elevator and tried to kiss me. Answer your phone. He just summoned me to his office. Our Eurostrade am going to be eaten alive, Arena Eurostrade TI. It all started with a phone call, the kind that only a twin brother in deep trouble can make. I was lounging on my sofa, enjoying a rare moment of peace, when Tyler Eurostrade's name flashed across my screen. His voice came through the speaker, a desperate, pleading whine that I knew all too well. Lester, you have to help me. I had a disastrous turn on the basketball court. My leg is shot. I can't Eurostrade T go to work, and you know the company is doing layoffs. I can't Eurostrade T afford to be out on sick leave right now. Please, can you just Euros fill in for me? Just a couple of days. I scoffed, tossing a piece of popcorn into the air and catching it in my mouth. Absolutely not, Ty. What happens when I get found out? I Eurostrade am not you. I have my own life, remember? His voice dropped into that pathetic, puppy dog tone that had worked on me since we were 6. We Eurostrade re-identical, less. No one will ever know. All you have to do is sit at my desk. Our Eurostrade LL do all the actual work from home and send it to you. You just have to be my face. Please. I could picture his big, pleading eyes, the slight tremble in his lip. He knew, damn him, that he had me. Fine, I grumbled, already tasting the bitter flavor of regret. But if this goes south, you are Eurostrade re the one explaining it to Mom. The following morning, I found myself parked in front of a monolithic glass and steel building clad in what Tyler considered a Circumflex Euros business casual. A Circumflex Eurostrade. The crisp white shirt and navy trousers felt stiff and foreign, probably the only things in his closet not covered in wrinkles. His company ID badge felt like a noose around my neck. I had spent the better part of an hour cramming, memorizing the names of his colleagues from a company group chat he Eurostrade forwarded. Feeling like I was studying for a final exam I was destined to fail. Taking a deep breath, I stepped out of my sleek black SUV, a vehicle that screamed a Circumflex Euros Lester Eurostrade and was the polar opposite of Tyler Eurostrade's beat-up sedan. Immediately I was spotted. 2 women from his department, their eyes widening in surprise. Tyler, since when did you get a ride like this? One of them, who I recalled was named Sarah, exclaimed. Her friend, Mir, chimed in. And this whole look. No glasses. Your hair is actually styled Euros. You are giving off some serious heartthrob energy today. I slipped into Tyler Eurostrade's easygoing persona, a mask I had worn many times before. A wide grin spread across my face. What? A Dicarner Eurostrade T decide to upgrade his life a little. I chuckled. Thanks for the ego boost, ladies. They giggled, falling into step with me as we walked towards the building Eurostrade's imposing glass doors. So far, so good. No alarms were being raised. We were waiting for the elevator, engrossed in idle morning chatter, when the atmosphere suddenly shifted. A palpable tension sliced through the air. The sound of sharp, decisive footsteps echoed behind us, growing louder, more commanding. I turned, and it was as if the Red Sea were parting. The crowd of employees instinctively moved aside to create a path for the man striding towards us. He was a vision of tailored perfection, a man sculpted from ambition and sharp angles. His charcoal suit was so finely cut it must have cost more than my first car. His dark hair was swept back from a face of sharp cheekbones and a strong jaw, and his eyes, a piercing hazel with a subtle, intriguing tilt, scanned the assembled group with an air of detached authority before they landed squarely on me. For a fleeting, almost imperceptible moment, the corner of his lip twitched, not quite a smile, but something close. "Good morning, Mr. Langston," Sarah and Mir chirped in perfect, reverent unison. A chorus of similar greetings echoed from the rest of the lobby crowd. This, I realized with a jolt, had to be Bernard Langston, the CEO my brother was constantly complaining about. The man he described as cold, ruthless, and utterly unforgiving. He had failed to mention that the man was also breathtakingly handsome, enough to make my own pulse stumble. I held his gaze, my curiosity piqued, sizing him up as he stepped into the private executive elevator. Our eyes met one last time, and a strange detail clicked into place. We were wearing the exact same damn shirt. A fitted, high-quality white button-up, distinguished by the same subtle blue stitching along the collar. His near smirk widened by a fraction, a silent acknowledgement of the coincidence, before the polished steel doors slid shut, sealing him away. My heart performed a strange, unfamiliar lurch in my chest, and I had to physically shake my head to clear it. "Dit a grip, Lester. You are Euros Trade Retailer today. Your mission is to be invisible, not to gawk at the boss." As we crowded into the regular elevator, Sarah nudged me excitedly. "Did you see that? Mr. Langston actually looked at you. I mean, really looked. I didn't Euros Trade even know his face was capable of making a smiling shape." I kept my tone light, forcing a casual shrug. Maybe he Euros Trade's just having a good morning. But my mind was stuck on that fleeting expression. It was barely there, a ghost of a grin, but it had felt like a spark of electricity. A dangerous one. We arrived on Tyler Euros Trade's floor, and I located his cubicle, a cramped, depressing corner with a monitor festooned with sticky notes and a plant that looked like it had given up on life weeks ago. I had barely composed my first fake email when Mir leaned over the partition, her voice a conspiratorial whisper. "Be careful with Greg, the department manager. He Euros Trade's got it in for Tyler. He sees him as an easy target for the layoffs." I raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "And why is that?" Mir rolled her eyes. "Gregor Euros Trade's cousin, Derek, works in our department, and he Euros Trade's completely useless. Greg is trying to protect his cousin by making Tyler look bad. He wants to sacrifice Tyler to save Derek Euros Trade's job. Just watch your back." Fantastic. Not only was I an imposter, but I had also walked directly into a corporate piranha tank. I shot off a quick text to my brother. "Your manager is a real piece of work. Any other office politics I should be aware of?" His reply was instantaneous and utterly unhelpful. "Just keep your head down and try not to get noticed. Our Euros Trade LL send you the work. You are Euros Trade readjust the body." Classic Tyler, leaving me to navigate the minefield he Euros Trade decreated. The morning crawled by at a glacial pace. I spent hours pretending to type, occasionally glancing at Tyler Euros Trade's project files to look busy, when a large shadow fell across my desk. I looked up into the perpetually scowling face of Greg, a paunchy man who seemed to ooze discontent. He slapped a thick folder onto my desk with a thud. "Tyler, you are Euros Trade rehandling the presentation for the product launch meeting this afternoon. All the details are in there. I blinked, completely blindsided. Me? Why me? I thought Kevin was supposed to be doing that presentation. Gregor Eurostrade's scowl deepened. Kevin Eurostrade's on paternity leave. You worked on this project last year, so it falls to you. War Eurostrade re-up. His tone was a clear challenge, daring me to refuse. From her cubicle, Mir tried to intervene. Greg, Thutter Eurostrade's not fair. Tyler hasna Eurostrade been involved with that project in months. Why not have Kevin Eurostrade's assistant take it? Gregor Eurostrade's face turned a shade of mottled red. Do you have a problem with my decision, Mir? Perhaps you are Eurostrade like to give the presentation instead. He stormed away, leaving the folder of doom on my desk. I opened it and let out a low groan. The brief was a disaster. It was a skeleton, with half the critical data missing and charts that looked like their Eurostrade been drawn by a hyperactive child with a crayon. This is a deliberate setup, I muttered. Mir nodded grimly. Greg is counting on you failing spectacularly. If you bomb this presentation, he Eurostrade have the justification he needs to put you on the chopping block and save his worthless cousin. I leaned back in the uncomfortable chair, rubbing my temples. Tyler, you are going to owe me for the rest of your natural life. I texted him again, my fingers flying across the screen. Your snake of a boss just handed me a suicide mission of a presentation. Send me every single file you have on this project. Now, while I waited for Tyler Eurostrade's data dump, I dove into the pathetic excuse for a brief, trying to piece together a coherent narrative. In my own job, running a major division for my family Eurostrade's corporation, Eurostrade handled $1 billion deals and hostile takeovers. This was Childer Eurostrade's play by comparison, but the deliberate sabotage made it infuriating. Tyler Eurostrade's files finally came through, a jumble of old emails and spreadsheets, and I was deep in the weeds, trying to build a new presentation from scratch, when a low, smooth voice cut through my concentration. Nice shirt. I swiveled my chair around to find Bernard Langston leaning against a nearby partition, his arms crossed over his chest. There was no entourage this time, just him, looking impossibly handsome and relaxed, like he Eurostrade just stepped out of a magazine ad. Those hazel eyes flickered over me, and I could swear I saw a glint of genuine amusement in them. I leaned back, stretching my legs out and offering a lazy grin. Thanks. I have to admit, it looks better on you. Loosen that tie a little, though, and you are Eurostrade be a serious threat to mankind. I was only half joking, but the way the corner of his mouth quirked up sent a jolt straight to my stomach. You are Eurostrade quite bold for a junior analyst, he observed, one perfect eyebrow raised. Remind me of your name. Tyler, I said, the lie slipping out smoothly. Tyler Hayes. He nodded, as if filing the name away in a mental Rolodex. Not taking a lunch break. Karna Eurostrade, I replied, gesturing to the mess on my screen. Gregor Eurostrade's little surprise presentation. No time for food when your career is on the line. He studied me for a long moment, his gaze intense, then he pushed himself off the partition. Don't Eurostrade burn yourself out, Tyler. I Eurostrade see you at the meeting. He walked away, leaving me with a racing heart and a profound sense of confusion. Not 10 minutes later, a man in a crisp suit appeared at my cubicle and placed a takeout bag on my desk. From Mr. Langston, he said, glancing at my ID badge. He also said to tell you the meeting has been moved to 4 euros trade clock. You should eat first. I opened the bag to find a feast. Grilled chicken, roasted vegetables, a side salad, and even a thick slice of New York cheesecake. Either this company offered some ridiculously extravagant perks, or Bernard Langston was playing a very strange game of favorites. I sent a text to Tyler. Your CEO just bought me lunch. An expensive lunch. What is his deal? Tyler Euros Trade's reply was just a series of question marks. I smirked, taking a large bite of the chicken. This impersonation gig was suddenly becoming a lot more interesting than I had anticipated. My phone was vibrating nonstop with Tyler Euros Trade's panicked texts as I devoured the last crumbs of Bernard Euros Trade's cheesecake. A presentation. Bro, your Euros Trade completely screwed. I hadn't Euros Trade looked at that project in a year. Greg is trying to get me fired. I rolled my eyes, typing back with one hand. Relax. Euros Trade V got this. Just keep sending any files you can find. His response was a single, desperate praying hands emoji. So typical. Dump the impossible task on me while he sits at home, probably watching daytime television with his leg propped up on a pillow. At my cubicle, Mir leaned over again, her voice low. Greg has been targeting you ever since the layoff rumors started. Eater Euros Trade's all about protecting Derek. War Euros Trade his sacrificial lamb. I looked down at the folder Greg had given me. It wasn't a Euros Trade just a brief. It was a carefully constructed instrument of failure, missing crucial market analysis and user feedback data. This is more than just lazy work. Eater Euros Trade's sabotage, I murmured, flipping through the useless pages. He didn't Euros Trade even bother to include the latest prototype testing results. Mir nodded, biting her lip anxiously. He Euros Trade's banking on you crashing and burning in that meeting. If you fail, he can argue that your position is redundant and save Derek Euros Trade's. I leaned back, a slow, determined smile spreading across my face. Well then, I guess Euros Trade LL just have to be brilliant when Euros Trade TI. Euros Trade D faced down boardroom sharks who would eat Greg for a light snack. This was for Tyler Euros Trade's career, though. The pressure was on. I sent another text. Gregor Euros Trade's brief is a pile of garbage. Do you have anything else on this product? He sent back a zip file. This is all I could find. Sorry, bro. I sighed and dove into the digital mess. The product was a smart home device, a voice-activated thermostat with some advanced learning capabilities. Euros Trade seen dozens of similar pitches at my family Euros Trade's company. So I began to formulate a strategy, weaving Tyler Euros Trade's sparse data together with my own extensive market knowledge. By noon, I was making real headway when that familiar shadow fell over my desk again. I looked up, expecting Gregor Euros Trade's sour face, but it was Bernard, his hands tucked casually into his pockets, looking far too elegant for a Tuesday afternoon. Still wrestling with that brief? He asked, his tone light but his eyes sharp and observant. I grinned, leaning back in my chair with a confidence I didn't Euros Trade entirely feel. Just trying to decipher Gregor Euros Trade's modern art masterpiece. Have you ever read something so poorly constructed it feels like a personal insult? His lips twitched, the ghost of a smile returning. Gregor Euros Trade's attention to detail can be Euros selective. Euros Trade managing, I said. Your lunch was a lifesaver, though. That cheesecake might have changed my life. I was keeping it casual, but I was also probing, trying to understand his angle. CEOs in a Euros trade typically make small talk with junior analysts. He studied me for a moment, as if I were a complex puzzle he was trying to solve. You are Euros trade not what I expected, Tyler. I raised an eyebrow, my voice playful. What? You thought I was just another drone buzzing around a cubicle? Something like that, he admitted. He paused, his gaze unwavering. Don't Euros trade let Gregor Euros trade petty games throw you off. I Euros trade am expecting a compelling presentation. And with that, he was gone, leaving me with a jumble of nerves and a strange warmth spreading through my chest. I shook it off and refocused. Tyler Euros trade's files were helpful, but I was still missing critical data points. I marched to Gregor Euros trade's office, folder in hand. Hey, this brief is incomplete. I need the rest of the market analysis and the latest user trial results. Greg didn't Euros trade even bother to look up from his computer screen. Thought Euros trade's everything we have. You are Euros trade LL have to figure it out. His dismissive tone made my blood boil. Seriously? You expect me to present a viable strategy with half the relevant numbers missing? He finally looked at me, his jowls quivering with irritation. You are Euros trade the one who worked on the initial project last year. Make it work. Or maybe you are Euros trade just not cut out for this kind of pressure. I bit back the scathing retort that was on the tip of my tongue and stalked out of his office. Fine, if you wanted to play dirty, hire Euros trade play smarter. I texted Tyler call Kevin. See if he has the full data set on his home computer. Be charming. While I waited, I pulled out my own work laptop, a device I had thankfully brought with me, and started accessing competitor analysis reports and market trend data from my companion Euros trade's private servers. It wasn't Euros trade a perfect solution, but it was enough to build a powerful, convincing pitch. I3 or Euros trade clock. Tyler came through with Kevin Euros trade's files, and I was in the zone, refining slides and rehearsing my delivery. Mir peeked over the partition, her eyes wide with amazement. You are Euros trade actually going to pull this off? Aaron Euros trade I Euros trade am seriously impressed. Doma Euros trade jinx it, I said with a quick grin. But no, Greg is not winning today. At 4 or Euros trade clock, I stood in the conference room, facing a dozen stony-faced executives. Greg was among them, a smug smirk plastered on his face, looking like a cat that had already cornered the mouse. Bernard sat at the head of the long table, his expression completely unreadable. I took a deep, steadying breath and began. I walked them through the Thermostarter Euros trade's features, its market potential, and the user feedback I had painstakingly cobbled together. I kept my delivery sharp and engaging, even throwing in a few light-hearted quips to break the tension. This device is so intelligent. By next year Euros trade's model, Euros trade LL probably be doing our taxes for us. A few polite chuckles went around the room. I even saw Bernard Euros trade's lips quirk upwards. Gregor Euros trade's smirk slowly dissolved as I confidently presented the numbers, seamlessly integrating my own industry knowledge to fill the glaring holes he had left for me. When I concluded, the room broke into a round of applause. Bernard gave a firm nod of approval. Solid work, Tyler. Send the full report to the production team. They can begin testing. Gregor Eurostrade's face was a thundercloud of fury, but he was trapped. He couldn't Eurostrade T object without revealing his own incompetence. As I gathered my notes, I caught Bernard Eurostrade's eye. He leaned in slightly, his voice a low murmur meant only for me. The lunch was a good investment, then. I smirked, matching his hushed tone. It was perfect. But I don't Eurostrade T like being in any on Eurostrade's debt. How about I buy you a coffee sometime to call it even? His eyes flickered with something I couldn't Eurostrade T quite name Euro's amusement, perhaps, or interest. Coffee is a start, but don't Eurostrade T press your luck. He walked away, leaving me with a pulse that was hammering against my ribs and a nagging question: was he flirting with me? Or was this just some kind of bizarre executive power game? Back at my desk, Mir gave me a high five. You absolutely destroyed him. Greg is furious. You made him look like a complete fool. I laughed, but my thoughts were consumed by Bernard. That offer of coffee had been a half-joking dare. Now I found myself wondering if I had actually meant it. And why in the world did it feel like he was watching me far more closely than a CEO should ever watch a junior analyst? I texted Tyler. Presentation done. Nailed it. Your CEO is being weirdly nice to me. Explain yourself. His reply was immediate. What? He Eurostrade's never nice to anyone. Bro, what did you do? I didn't Eurostrade T answer, because, in all honesty, I had no idea myself. All I knew was that this simple favor for my brother had just become infinitely more complicated. On Friday night, the weight of the week finally hit me. I was out with some old college friends at a dimly lit bar, trying to unwind over a few beers. Tyler Eurostrade's texts had thankfully slowed to a trickle after I had saved his career, but I was still on edge. Bernard Eurostrade's cryptic phrase, "I might collect," echoing in my mind. What could that possibly mean? I clinked bottles with Jake, my former roommate, who was already well on his way to being drunk and was regaling our friends with tales of our semester abroad. Remember that time you sweet-talked Professor Albright into giving you a 3-week extension on your final paper? Jake slurred, a wide grin on his face. You could charm the pants off a statue, Lester. I laughed, taking a sip of my beer. Eater Eurostrade's a gift, and it usually keeps me out of trouble. Usually. I was just about to call it a night when I stepped outside for a breath of fresh air and nearly collided with a figure stumbling out of the bar Eurostrade's entrance. I reached out instinctively, grabbing their arm to steady them. My stomach plummeted when I saw who it was. Bernard. His tie was loose, his cheeks were flushed, and his usually sharp hazel eyes were glassy and unfocused. He blinked at me, a slow, clumsy dawning of recognition on his face. Tyler, what are you doing here? Grabbing a few drinks with friends, I said, maintaining my grip on his arm as he swayed precariously. Are you okay, boss? You look like you just lost a wrestling match with a bottle of scotch. He let out a short, breathy laugh, leaning against me. His breath was warm and smelled strongly of expensive whiskey. You owe me dinner, remember? You said you are Eurostrade D, pay me back. His words were slurred, but there was a playful, teasing edge to his voice that made my pulse quicken. You are Eurostrade re-drunk, Bernard. I think dinner will have to wait. I was trying to sound firm, but he was standing so close I could feel the heat radiating from his body. He pouted. The CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation actually pouted, and it was so wildly out of character that I almost laughed out loud. No waiting. Eurostrade am hungry now. You promised. He flagged down a passing waiter, mumbling, "A table for two, please." He euros trade s paying. The waiter looked utterly bewildered. I waved him away. He euros trade s had more than enough. I euros trade ll get him home. Bernard began to protest, slumping against me until his head rested on my shoulder. My skin tingled at the contact, and I was suddenly hyper-aware of how solid and real he felt, even in his inebriated state. I half-harried, half-dragged him to my car, doing my best to ignore his mumbled complaints about how I was no fun and a very mean Tyler. The drive was a chaotic ordeal. He kept fiddling with the radio, singing terribly off-key to a pop song, and at one point, he actually tried to climb into my lap. "Dude, sit still," I snapped, pushing him back into the passenger seat. "You are euros trade going to make me crash the car." He just giggled, a genuine, unrestrained giggle, and I found myself torn between utter exasperation and a strange sense of amusement. Where was the ice-cold CEO now? I had no idea where he lived, and a quick text to Tyler proved useless. "Your boss is hammered. Where does he live?" His reply, "No clue. Maybe a hotel." Great. I spotted a respectable-looking hotel just ahead and pulled into the parking lot, deciding it was a far safer option than leaving him to his own devices. Inside the hotel room, I managed to get him to the bed and started tugging off his expensive shoes. He was mumbling nonsense, something about a stupid board meeting, when a loud crack of thunder rattled the window. The sky had been threatening rain all evening, and now the storm had arrived in full force. Bernard euros trade's eyes shot open, wide with a sudden, panicked lucidity. Before I could even react, his hand shot out and grabbed my wrist, his grip surprisingly strong. "Dona euros trade t go," he whispered, his voice raw and strained. "I hate storms. I hate them." His breathing was ragged and shallow, and for the first time, I saw something in his face other than command or amusement. It was pure, unguarded fear. I sat down on the edge of the bed, keeping my voice calm and steady. "Hey, eater euros trade s just a little thunder. War euros trade refine." But he was no euros trade t listening. His other hand clutched at the fabric of my shirt, as if I were a lifeline. Another deafening boom of thunder echoed, and he flinched violently, curling in towards me. My chest tightened. This was not the Bernard who commanded boardrooms and intimidated executives. This was someone else entirely, someone carrying a heavy, invisible burden. "Talk to me," I said softly. "What is it about the storm?" His voice was barely a whisper. My foster father euros he would get drunk. It was always worse when it stormed. He euros he would beat my foster mother. I was just a kid. I couldn't euros trade t do anything to stop him. He shuddered, his eyes staring at something far away. "One nighter euros she didn't euros trade t make it. There was so much blood. The thundery euros it drowned out her screams." My stomach twisted into a painful knot. I had no words, no comfort to offer for a horror like that. So I just did the only thing I could think of. I pulled him closer, letting him lean his full weight against my chest. "War euros trade safe now," I murmured, rubbing his back in slow, steady circles. "No one is going to hurt you." His breathing gradually evened out, but he didn't euros trade t let go of my shirt, and I didn't euros trade t push him away. We stayed like that for what felt like an eternity, the storm raging outside, until his grip finally loosened and he drifted into a restless half-sleep. He mumbled something against my collarbone. "War euros trade nice, Tyler." "Too nice." I let out a soft chuckle, though my heart was pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. This felt too real, too intimate. I was no Euros trade T. Tyler, and the longer this charade continued, the deeper the mess I was creating. He shifted again, his lips brushing against the skin of my neck as he muttered something incoherent. A fire ignited where he touched me, and I had to fight every single instinct that was screaming at me to pull him closer. "Sleep it off, Bernard," I whispered, gently tucking the blanket around him. I was about to carefully slip away when his hand found mine again, his eyes fluttering half open. "Stay," he mumbled. "Please." I should have left. I should have kept the lines clean, maintained the facade of being just Tyler, the temporary employee. But his voice, so small and broken, resonated somewhere deep inside me. "Fine," I sighed, kicking off my own shoes and sliding onto the bed, making sure to keep a respectable distance between us. "But now you definitely owe me dinner," he snorted softly, already drifting back to sleep. I lay there, staring at the ceiling as the rumble of the storm began to fade, and wondered how in the hell I had ended up here, impersonating my brother, babysitting his drunk, traumatized CEO, and feeling things that I had absolutely no business feeling. My phone buzzed again. It was another text from Tyler. "You good? Dilma Euros trade T get me fired." I didn't Euros trade T reply. I was too busy trying to ignore the warmth of Bernard Euros trade's hand, which was still loosely clasped around mine. Morning light streamed through a gap in the hotel curtains, and I woke with a stiff neck and the surprising weight of Bernard Euros trade's arm slung across my chest. His face was buried in the crook of my shoulder, his soft, even snores vibrating against my skin. For a brief, disorienting moment, I forgot who I was supposed to be, lost in the unexpected peacefulness of the scene. He looked so different like this, all the sharp, intimidating edges of his CEO persona completely softened by sleep. Then my phone buzzed on the nightstand, shattering the calm. 6:47 a.m. I was going to be late for Tyler Euros trade's job. I carefully extracted myself from under Bernard Euros trade's arm, trying not to wake him, and grabbed my phone. It was already being assaulted by a barrage of texts from Tyler. "Bro, where are you? Greg is already sniffing around your desk. Dome Euros trade T screw this up for me." I texted back a hasty reply, "Overslept. Cover for me." I was halfway to the bathroom when I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the mirror and froze. There, stark against the skin of my neck, was a dark red mark, unmistakably a hickey, and another one was peeking out from this open collar of my shirt. Kiss marks. From a drunk Bernard who probably had zero recollection of leaving them there. A hot flush crept up my neck, a mixture of pure embarrassment and something else, something I refused to name. I quickly buttoned my shirt all the way to the top, but it was a futile effort. The marks were too obvious, too damning. I splashed cold water on my face, trying to wash away the phantom sensation of his lips grazing my skin during the storm. "Focus, Lester. You are Euros trade here to save Tyler Euros trade's career, not to get distracted by his boss." I managed to slip into the office by 8, sliding into Tyler Euros trade's cubicle as if nothing were amiss. Mir was already there, sipping her morning coffee. Her eyes widened the moment she saw me. "Tyler, what is that?" she asked, pointing directly at my neck, a mischievous grin spreading across her face. "Do you have a secret girlfriend you haven't Euros trade T told us about? Spill the details." I forced a laugh, tugging awkwardly at my collar. "Eater Euros trade's nothing, just a mosquito bite." She snorted, clearly not buying it for a second. Yeah, a mosquito with some serious skills. Come on, who is she? Before I could formulate another lie, Greg stumped over, his face a perfect storm of smugness and irritation. Hayes, why euros trade relate? And what is with the neck? This is a professional office, not a frat house. His tone was sharp, but I saw a speculative glint in his eye, as if he were mentally filing this information away for future use. Just a rough morning, I said, keeping my voice steady. It wanna euros trade tea happen again. He grumbled something under his breath and walked away, but Myra euros trade's knowing smirk remained. I tried to ignore her and immerse myself in Tyler euros trade's emails, but my mind was stuck on a loop. Did Bernard mean to leave those marks? Was it just a drunken, meaningless act? And why did I care so much? I was supposed to be an actor playing a part, not a leading man catching feelings. By noon, I couldn't euros trade tea take it anymore. I needed answers. I marched up to the 24th floor, ignoring the surprised look from Bernard euros trade's assistant, and knocked firmly on his office door. Come in, he called, his voice as smooth and controlled as ever. He was sitting behind his enormous desk, looking infuriatingly perfect, as if last night euros trade's whiskey-fueled emotional breakdown had never happened. I didn't euros trade tea bother with pleasantries. I walked straight to his desk, unbuttoned the top 2 buttons of my collar, and pointed at the marks on my neck. Care to offer an explanation for these, boss? His eyes flickered down to the marks, and for a split second, a faint blush crept up his own neck. But he recovered instantly, leaning back in his chair with a lazy, infuriating grin. Looks like you had a good night, Tyler. I stepped closer, placing my hand flat on his desk and leaning in. Don't euros trade tea play games with me. You were wasted, but you win our euros trade tea so far gone that you didn't euros trade tea know what you were doing. So, what are euros trade's the real story? Do you make a habit of marking up your employees? His grin faltered, but his gaze remained locked with mine. I got carried away, he said, his voice dropping slightly. The Stormer euros it got to me, and you were there. My mistake. He paused, then added, a challenging glint in his eyes, you didn't euros trade tea exactly seem to be pushing me away. My jaw tightened. You were having a full-blown panic attack. I wasn't euros trade tea about to abandon you in a hotel room. But this, I gestured to my neck again, this is not nothing. He stood up, closing the small distance between us until we were only inches apart. His voice was a low, intimate murmur. All right, let euros trade's settle this. You want payback? Go ahead. Leave a mark on me. We euros trade LL call it even. His tone was a strange mix of challenge and invitation, and it threw me completely off balance. I let out a short, disbelieving laugh. Are you serious? Farter euros trade's your idea of an apology? He shrugged, his eyes glinting with amusement. I euros trade am a fair man. You don't euros trade tea like owing favors, do you? So, take your shot. I was tempted. God help me, I was so tempted. But I took a step back, shaking my head. You are euros trade recertifiably insane. Let euros trade's just forget it ever happened. I wasn't euros trade tea sure if I was more angry or amused, but my heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. He smirked, sinking back into his chair. Suit yourself, Tyler, but don't euros trade tea say I didn't euros trade tea offer. I was out the door before I could do something incredibly stupid, like take him up on that offer. Back at my desk, my phone buzzed with a call from Wyatt, an old friend of mine who also happened to be Bernard Eurostrade's cousin. Yo, Les, you still playing pretend at your brother Eurostrade's job? He asked, his voice full of laughter. Yeah, why? I asked, trying to sound casual, but Wyatt had a sixth sense for trouble. Just heard some interesting rumors about you and my cousin Bernard getting their Euros cozy. You sure you know what you are Eurostrade getting into? I froze. What rumors? Our Eurostrade just covering for my brother. He laughed. Sure, man. Just be careful. Bernard isn't a Eurostrade as cold as everyone thinks, but he Eurostrade's got real enemies. Especially his other cousin, Elliot. Elliot. Our Eurostrade heard the name before. Some disgraced executive who had been forced out of the company years ago. Yeah, Elliot was Bernard Eurostrade's predecessor. A nasty piece of work. The word on the street is he Eurostrade's back in town, and he Eurostrade's looking to reclaim Bernard Eurostrade's job. Just keep your eyes open. I hung up the phone, a new sense of unease settling in my gut. I was about to text Tyler when I got a call from an unknown number. It was the bartender from the previous night. Hey, you were with that guy in the suit, right? We found his wallet under the table. Are you coming to pick it up? I agreed to swing by after work. As I was leaving the building, I saw Bernard heading out as well. He looked off, pale and unsteady on his feet. A primal instinct screamed at me that something was wrong, and I decided to follow him from a safe distance. At the bar, I collected the wallet, but when I caught up with him outside, he was leaning heavily against a brick wall, breathing in short, ragged gasps. Bernard, are you all right? I asked, grabbing his arm. He shook his head, his voice tight with pain. I feel Euros strange. Something Eurostrade's not right. His eyes were glassy, and I caught the faint, acrid chemical smell on his breath. My blood ran cold. Our Eurostrade seen this before. Someone had drugged him. No more questions, I said, my voice firm as I steered him towards my car. We Eurostrade getting you out of here. He didn't Eurostrade argue, which scared me more than anything. Whatever was happening, Wyatt Eurostrade's about Elliot was ringing in my ears like an alarm bell, and I knew I wasn't Eurostrade letting Bernard out of my sight. Tyler Eurostrade's texts were coming in so fast my phone felt like it was having a seizure. I was racing back towards the office, with Bernard slumped in my passenger seat, still disoriented from whatever had been slipped into his drink. Bro, your CEO is acting so weird. He smiled at me in the elevator, and then he tried to kiss me. What did you do? I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white, muttering a string of curses under my breath. Tyler wasn't Eurostrade supposed to be back. His leg was barely healed, but of course, in his typical fashion, he had decided to jump the gun. And now, Bernard was mistaking him for me. This entire, ridiculous house of cards was about to come crashing down. I glanced over at Bernard. He was rubbing his temples, looking less like a powerful CEO and more like a man who had been run over by a truck. Are you sure you don't Eurostrade need to go to a hospital? I asked, my voice much calmer than I felt. He shook his head, his own voice rough. Just get me to the office. I can handle it. His eyes, now a little clearer, flicked towards me. You didn't Eurostrade have to stay with me last night, Tyler. Thank you. I winced at the name, but didn't Eurostrade correct him? Not yet. Yeah, well, I couldn't Eurostrade T just leave you to pass out in a back alley. I pulled into the company parking garage, my stomach churning with dread. By now, Tyler was probably having a full-blown meltdown in a supply closet. I found him in Bernard Eurostrade's office, perched nervously on the edge of the leather sofa, picking at his fingernails like a terrified child. Bernard followed me in, his expression shifting from confusion to a cold, sharp focus as he saw Tyler. "What is going on here?" he asked, his voice clipped, his gaze darting back and forth between the two of us. Tyler looked like a deer caught in headlights, ready to bolt at any moment. Boss, I swear, I didn't Eurostrade T do anything wrong." I cut him off, giving his shin a light kick. "Ty, you when are Eurostrade T supposed to come back until next week? What happened to laying low?" He glared at me, rubbing his leg. "I thought I was fine. The doctor said I could walk on it, and I didn't Eurostrade T want Greg to dock my pay." Then he jabbed a trembling finger towards Bernard. "Starts acting like we Eurostrade best friends in the elevator, talking about sleeping in and coming to work together. Then he leans in, like he Eurostrade's actually going to kiss me. I Eurostrade am freaking out, Les." Bernard Eurostrade's eyes narrowed, his intense gaze locking onto me. "Les? War Eurostrade's Les?" I let out a long, defeated sigh, pinching the bridge of my nose. There was no way out of this now. That would be me. I Eurostrade am Lester Hayes, Tyler Eurostrade's twin brother. I Eurostrade V been covering for him while his leg was healing. I finally met Bernard Eurostrade's gaze, bracing myself for the inevitable explosion. I Eurostrade am not Tyler. I Eurostrade am sorry. Tyler Eurostrade's jaw dropped. "You told him your real name." Bernard Eurostrade's face was an unreadable mask of stone, but his voice was pure ice. "So, war Eurostrade V been lying to me? Both of you." He pointed a finger at my brother. "You are the real Tyler Hayes. And you," he turned back to me, his eyes flashing with a dangerous combination of anger and something that looked devastatingly like hurt. "You are Eurostrade V been playing me for a fool this entire time." I took a step forward, my hands raised in a placating gesture. "It wasn't a Eurostrade T like that." Tyler was desperate. He begged me to cover for him so he wouldn't Eurostrade T get fired. And just like that, the entire charade came crashing down, shattering the fragile, unspoken connection that had been built between us. The air in the room was thick with betrayal, the silence broken only by my brother Eurostrade's panicked breathing and the furious, wounded look in Bernard Eurostrade's eyes. A look that was directed entirely at me. Do you think Bernard can ever forgive Lester for the deception, or was a connection they built based on a lie too big to overcome? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you are Eurostrade rehooked on this roller coaster of romance and deception, don't Eurostrade T forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more.